This is the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie, unfortunately, is sick today. Hopefully, he'll be back with us tomorrow. Hope he gets to feeling better. But JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon. And we've got a lot of guys that are going to step up in Frank's absence and give us some great information. We're going to have Mark Long of the Associated Press at 4:20. A lot of stuff I want to get into with Mark. I mean, obviously, the Jaguars coaching search is at the top of that list. But also Florida basketball, now ranked 5th in the country. Huge win at Arkansas on Saturday. And also still anxious to see what Billy Napier does with some of these hires. We know that there's a front office job that he is trying to fill. We have heard rumblings about a defensive coordinator, maybe an offensive coordinator. So that'll be a lot of fun catching up with Mark Long. We're going to do that in our next segment. And then at 5 o'clock, Ryan O'Halloran's going to join us at the Buffalo News, the columnist there. What a game he's getting ready to watch this coming weekend when the Ravens go visit the Bills. Head and shoulders, for me, the most intriguing game coming up on divisional round weekend. And we'll recap Buffalo's 31-7 win over Denver. We'll also get his thoughts on Josh Allen, the MVP race. We'll get his thoughts on the Jaguars search, what he's hearing around the league. As well. And then at 5:25, our good buddy Michael DeRocco, D-Rock from ESPN, is going to join us to talk a lot about many Jaguar-related topics, not just the coaching search, but also Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, their futures here, Trevor Lawrence's press conference the other day, what he took out of that. So it should be a fun show, and we appreciate you guys joining us. JJ, how are you? Did you have a good weekend?
I'm great. I was wishing the games would have been a little better. Last night sort of almost saved things. I was entertained by it, and hopefully tonight's good. But big news today on the coaching front. I couldn't help but think of you and your Bill Belichick theory.
It's gaining momentum.
Exactly. Listen, McCarthy is not coming back as the coach of the Cowboys. And I saw lots of things like, hey, Belichick wanted that job, and if he would have known, and da-da-da. It's not too late, guys. It could still happen. I would not be shocked at all if we hear tomorrow, all of a sudden, Bill Belichick's pulled out of UNC. He's done with that. He is now the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, it never made sense to me, Belichick going to North Carolina. And you know, I do think that there's a couple of things here that went into this. One, I think Belichick had a little bit of arrogance in terms of, hey, I want to coach next year, and shame on one of these owners for not back channeling it to me that they're going to hire me. Well, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, or maybe even a month ago when he took the job, billionaires are not going to be forced into a timeline. That's not the life they lead. So you can't force somebody that's in that position of life, that station of life. They don't have timelines put upon them.
Especially not by millionaires.
Exactly.
These peons.
So, right, a football coach. So, you know, that was never going to happen. I think that was arrogance on Belichick's part. But I do think it was smart of him to take the North Carolina job. Because then, and this is like, you know, basic dating as well. But it became, well, now you can't have him. You know, now
you're always more desirable.
Absolutely. Now he's at North Carolina. Now you can't have him. And I always thought it would take an owner whose search had kind of derailed a little bit, because obviously Belichick isn't anybody's top choice, or we would have seen what happened with Vrabel in New England happen with Belichick. There would have been, you know, a sham search in terms of fulfilling all the Rooney Rule requirements, and then you make your hire. I mean, the Patriots, and I give the Patriots, they get an A+ for hiring Mike Vrabel. That is an outstanding hire. But obviously, that moved way faster than all these other searches are gonna move, right, because they have a personal tie to Mike Vrabel. And so, but now the thing that I saw today that see, I'm not obviously connected to Chapel Hill. I don't really know what I've seen. You know, Belichick on social media, recruiting and visiting prospects and things like that. But what really stood out to me today about it, and we got a lot of things we're going to get to, but we're not going to talk about Belichick for much longer. But I do think it's interesting. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio wrote something today that I thought was interesting. It's something I hadn't really been keeping up with. he's barely hired anybody at North Carolina.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, did you read the story?
I assumed that like because he had his GM in place with Lombardi that like everything else was also ready to go because he had written like a 400-page whatever about what I'm going to do. But no, that's a great point about him maybe not going to North Carolina and always like keeping that door open a little bit to go to the NFL.
Yeah. He doesn't have a staff. I mean, he does not. He's got like a couple of guys that he inherited that he's retained. He hired Mike Lombardi, who's basically his sidekick.
Yeah,
I mean, and so that
go get coffee.
Yeah, that didn't really require much of a process. But I mean, if you look at his staff for being there a month, it's unbelievable. So again, it just adds fuel to could he again the $10 million buyout. That's not going to stop him. And it does make me wonder because I think you step into Dallas with a chance to win big right away. I think McCarthy's a pretty good coach. He's 174 and 112 in 18 years, so obviously he knows what he's doing. But
Dallas is a playoff team.
Yeah, but I think if Belichick, if Belichick gets that job, I think Dallas absolutely should have aspirations of immediately joining that top tier in the NFC. I think Belichick is still an unbelievable coach. You have Dak Prescott, you've got Micah Parsons, you got CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I'm not saying they're a finished product, but
they're easily a 10-win team with Belichick. As for me, like the bottom, that's their floor is like 9 wins.
I agree. It'll be really interesting to see, and a lot of the NFL insiders have talked about this as well, because Jerry Jones waited so long to do this. Now they've missed the window unless they get the interviews done tonight. They're going to miss the window to talk with the coaches the assistants that
were
on a bye. So they'd have to wait until their season is over before they can even make initial contact.
Which could be the Super Bowl.
Which could be, like mid-February. The Super Bowl is the 9th of February. So it's really interesting to see, and it'd be such a Dallas thing to hire Belichick. A lot of people believe Kellen Moore is the odds-on favorite. He played there, not like a star, but he was a backup quarterback there. Then obviously was an OC there, and so he's got a lot of familiarity with the program. So maybe it'll end up being Kellen Moore, who's Philadelphia's offensive coordinator now. But
he wouldn't upstage Jerry. That is the thing that, like, would Jerry bring a guy like Belichick in? That's very, like, 90s Jerry to do that.
I agree.
He hasn't done it in so long.
Yeah, I agree. It would be Jerry basically handing over the keys, and is he willing to do that? But boy, would it be, talk about a blockbuster.
Woo,
if Bill Belichick, I would too.
I always thought that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Like, hey, listen, McCarthy's going into his last year in the contract. Belichick's going to sit on the sideline this season. We all know what's going to happen at the end, though. The big name is going to hire the big name, and it's going to be huge, and we're going to talk about Dallas even more than we do. And then when the North Carolina thing, I was just like, what?
Yes.
And, I'm still not a believer in North Carolina. I'm with you. I think this could happen.
Well, imagine if Belichick goes to Dallas, how heated that Cowboys Commanders will get, because, my goodness, Jaden Daniels.
Freak. I love him.
I mean, you want to talk about a guy that's got MVP in future years written all over him. What an outstanding rookie season he has had, and he was phenomenal again yesterday.
Yeah, I almost hope like Cliff doesn't get hired as a head coach somewhere, because I want to see him with Jaden for a few years, because I thought the game plan last night, I thought the play calling was great. I don't love the little runs they do with him, because I feel like when he gets tackled, he gets blasted. There was that play on the sideline yesterday where he just flew like a child, it looked like. But yeah, if he can do a little bit better about getting out of bounds quickly or getting down quicker, yeah, the kid's got a super bright future in this league. And I loved watching him last night. After a long weekend of horrid quarterback play, it's definitely what I needed to see to, like, give me hope for the future of this league.
Without a doubt. I mean, it was really disappointing. I mean, Justin Herbert threw 4 picks, one of which wasn't his fault. Right. The ball goes through Will Disley's hands, and, but still, he obviously played very poorly. Jordan Love played very poorly. So, yeah, I mean, but Jaden Daniels, I mean, you look at what he could become in this league when he, finally is able to have an off season to process everything. I mean, Washington should just be over the moon, and they deserve it. They had, a quarter century of terrible ownership with Dan Snyder, and it's amazing that the second he leaves, they fall into, a guy who it's
karma, man.
Yeah, it really is. It's hard for me to imagine that Jaden Daniels isn't going to bring MVPs and potential Super Bowl triumphs to Washington. So for a market that's been down, they were fantastic when I was a kid. But boy, they have been, for about 25 years.
We just looked it up. It was 2006. January 7, 2006 was their last playoff victory. And the number one song was Grills by Nelly.
How about that?
I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, that is incredible. What did you think about the college football semifinal?
Well, first of all, I loved the game. I know it was the Texas game.
Yeah.
We all called it. Ohio State ended up covering, but that was as backdoor cover as you could get. I thought the play calling at the goal line was super suspect from Texas, but a great game. Texas's defense, got to give them a shout out to shut down that high-powered offense that we just saw going absolutely crazy the last few weeks. Jeremiah Smith, I think, had one catch, which just
it was stunning.
It's very stunning.
The game lined up exactly how Texas needed it.
Yeah.
And then to your point,
just a couple huge mistakes right before half.
Yeah.
To give up that screen pass for 75 yards untouched.
Yeah.
You never see that. Both teams are basically saying, hey, we're going to take this into half.
Right.
And instead of just doing a draw or handing it off, they just do a screen pass instead, which still should get you maybe 15 yards. And wow, that just totally changed things. And then, like I just said, the end with the goal line stand, that second down play call in particular with the toss was so bad. And from a guy like Sark, who, is one of the best offensive play callers in the world, I was shocked by that play call.
I couldn't believe it.
And they lose 5 yards there, and then you're like, well, now you can't run it anymore.
No.
And that strip sack, it was just a crazy way to end a game. And unfortunately, I don't think the national championship is going to be much of a game. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's close. But for me, as a Miami fan, God, this sucks, man.
What's Miami's because of I'm with you. I couldn't figure out
Ohio State, just the 2002 game.
Yeah. You guys.
Notre Dame, of course, has been one of our main rivals forever. And I'm a narrative guy, so my whole life, Notre Dame has never won a national title. So I like that narrative. I would like that to keep going. I've seen Ohio State win multiple titles, so what's another one?
Yeah.
I just think it's hilarious that the most popular, biggest college football program in America hasn't won a natty in my whole life.
It is. It's stunning. And I'm with you. I think I would love to see. I would like to see Notre Dame win it. But I think it's going to be an awfully difficult putt for them against Ohio State. But anyway, we're off and running. When we come back on the Frangie Show, you're going to hear from Mark Long of the Associated Press again. Jaguars coaching search, Gators basketball, and some Gators football as well. Mark covers all of that for the AP, does an outstanding job. You're listening to the Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Let's take a look inside 1010XL.
Who wants the Grand Tour? That would be terrific. That would be great.
We have the drill in the morning.
Very amusing.
Jaguars today from 10 to noon.
Good.
Helmets and heels until 2.
Yes.
XL Prime Time and the Frangie Show afternoons.
This is great.
Then Baloo and Hacker take you into the night.
All in one location.
1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
To get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, and I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Start the new year with a fresh look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% off on our energy-efficient windows and patio doors designed to keep your home comfortable year-round and your energy bills down. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation. But hurry, the special New Year's offer won't last. License number CGC 1527613.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Matt and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Dan and Jeff are going to be live from the brand new showroom at Tyson Sound and Security this Friday. You have to check out Tyson's showroom home theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. Did I mention Friday morning you can enter to win a $2,500 prize giveaway? Bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning, 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Matt Hays, and we're now in the third week of the new year. Have you lost 18 pounds yet? Well, you probably didn't choose Awaken 180 weight loss. I lost 18 pounds in my first 3 weeks alone. Switch it up and get your results at awaken180weightloss.com.
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning has your back. Start the year fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses. Call Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Make a resolution this new year to send all of your friends or family a Kuhn Flowers floral arrangement. E.T. here with 1010XL. Okay, how about sending just one person you love a floral arrangement? Kuhn Flowers can handle it.
Prosser here. When it comes time to sell your home or you're thinking about selling your home, would you really love a guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but you don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it? Guess what? You can with Chad and Sandy. If you want to sell your home soon, you need to get the process started now and get it sold fast, easy, and at top dollar with Chad and Sandy Newman. Local real estate experts I trust and recommend and have now for years. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Mike and Rosemary in St. Augustine write in, we needed to move on to a more affordable home in a specific school zone, but our mortgage pre-qualification wasn't enough and at a high interest rate. Chad and Sandy negotiated with a lender, lowered the interest rate by 1%, and increased our approval amount. We got the home we needed for $200 less per month than our prior lender's rate. That's what you get with Chad and Sandy. That guarantee. Call today, 414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com.
10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah,
Jacksonville.
Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Again, Frank Frangie out today. He'll hopefully be back with us tomorrow, but JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon. We are pleased to be joined with our good friend Mark Long of the Associated Press. Does an outstanding job covering the Jaguars and the Gators. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Hays?
I appreciate you joining us. Yes, it's good to hear from you and doing wonderful. We haven't talked obviously in a week or so, but how do you see this Jags coaching search so far? Has it gone kind of how you expected it to go? And give us sort of a preview of what you think we might see happen in the next few days here as the search continues.
Yeah, I would say I kind of agree with Trevor Lawrence. I think nailed it when he said, they're hitting all the big names, right? They're getting the hot names, the guys you would expect them to talk to. They've done all that. So aside from Vrabel, which I think, my guess is Vrabel was a done deal to New England the second they decided to part ways, or maybe even before they decided to part ways with their head coach there, with Jared Mayo. I think, it's some names that you would expect. I like, obviously, Ben Johnson and Glenn, the two Detroit coordinators, are really high on my list. I wouldn't be stunned if it was a guy who has coaching experience, like a Brian Flores or a Robert Saleh. Those guys who have some experience coming back, Spagnuolo maybe along those lines too. But I keep going back. All those defensive guys, Flores, Spagnuolo, Saleh, Glenn, great. Get them on the list, talk to them, learn something, see how it plays out. But to me, if I'm making this hire, I am going offensive-minded guy. I just don't think you have a choice when you've invested the way they've invested in Trevor Lawrence and invested on that side of the ball. And when you look at, okay, we like Brian Thomas, we really love Trevor Lawrence, we understand we've got to do some more things on the offensive line. We've paid Evan Ingram, paid Christian Kirk, all those things. I think you just got to go offense. And when you go back and you read between the lines, I don't even know if it's read between the lines. You go back and listen to Shad Khan. He talked about predictability and offensive unpredictability moving forward. That tells me, that just screams of young offensive mind who's going to come in and really make this thing look different, feel different, and hopefully lead to different results. And, I know everybody says that's Ben Johnson. Maybe it's Ben Johnson. Maybe it's Cohen. Maybe it's Monken. But to me, if the search doesn't land with a young offensive mind, then I think my estimation will be it failed, honestly. Even if you tell me that, hey, Saleh's going to be a great coach, Flores is going to be a great guy, Glenn's going to be great, I still think, to me, if you're really going to do right by what you've done and what this team is and maybe what you think their identity can be, then it's got to be the young offensive mind.
Tampa Bay's season ended last night, so Liam Cohen is available. Do you think he's got a pretty good shot at this?
I don't know. That's the hard part, right? You're not in the room. I have no idea what questions are being asked. I don't have any idea what these guys are saying. I know this. I know what I see, and what I saw from Tampa Bay all season on the offensive side of the ball, out of Baker Mayfield, out of Bucky Irvin, out of 150-year-old Mike Evans. What I saw from them, I liked, and so is that Cohen? Is it a group effort? Is it the court? Whatever it is, I like it. Same thing with Ben Johnson. I like what I've seen out of Detroit's offense. Are the players the same? No. And, that's going to be the difference. But you like the offensive scheme. You like the creativity. You like what the Bucs are able to do up front. I like what Baltimore's done under Monken. I like what Philly's done under why is his name?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore, yeah, under Moore. So you like all that stuff. Under Joe Brady with Buffalo, you like all of that. You like those offenses. Yes, they, pretty dynamic players in Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Buffalo. But, it starts somewhere, and the guy calling plays, you like what you see, and you hope that some of that translates.
They obviously have had a pretty extensive list of candidates already. Do you think anybody gets added to that list? Could like a Mike McCarthy, now that he's not with Dallas, could Shad Khan maybe want to listen to what he might have to say?
I don't know why you wouldn't, but to me, I think it's a bad sign if you keep adding candidates. They've got a list of, is it 10 right now? They've got a list of 10.
Yeah, I think it is 10, right on the number.
8 plus the Spagnuolo and Flores.
Right.
So it's 10 candidates. If you add beyond 10, beyond this first round, even with a Mike McCarthy coming available, to me it looks like you're reaching that nobody's knocked your socks off. I would think that 10 is enough. I mean, they did a pretty extensive search when they ended up with Doug Peterson 3 years ago. Some of that stuff you would think you learned from it. That was, as far as I can remember, that might have been their most extensive coaching search to date. So, maybe you learn something from there. But to me, man, if you put Monken and Johnson and Cohen and Moore and Brady on your list, you talk about wanting to be innovative on the offensive side of the ball, and then all of a sudden you're doubling back to guys like Mike McCarthy, even with his Super Bowl win is a decade ago or more.
Yeah.
To me, that looks like you've either identified the wrong people or failed to find the right guy.
I get the feeling this could go on for weeks, and that's not even with it the possibility. I don't think it will be Ben Johnson. I'd love it to be Ben Johnson, but I worry about the way the organization is structured and the decision by Shad Khan to retain Trent Baalke. So I worry that it won't be Ben Johnson. But even forgetting that, because if it's Ben Johnson, there's a good chance you're going to have to wait until mid-February for him to actually be here and start on the job. But I get the sense that this has still got a couple weeks left in it. Do you, in terms of this search?
Yeah, I don't think they're in any rush. And why do you need to be? There's no timetable here. You got to get through all of these guys, and I would expect them to double back somebody, or maybe to 2 or 3 guys. Double back, have second interviews, especially if the first interview is a virtual one. I still think you want to get in front of these guys.
Yeah.
And whether that's and all of them, I think, would be first-time head coaches. Brady, Moore, Cohen, Johnson, Monken would all be first-time head coaches in the NFL, maybe even period, right? And I look at those and I go, well, that's the kind of guy, if you're Trent Baalke and you're trying to maybe exert yourself maybe a little bit or be in charge, is Mike McCarthy, is Brian, are those the guys who are going to maybe keep you around and let you have a lot of say? Probably not. I think you got a better chance of having some stay and maybe even maintaining Shad's ear if you have a first-time head coach. You can maybe even run roughshod a little bit over them.
I think that's absolutely in play. I think that's why a guy like Liam Cohen has a great chance. And it doesn't seem like he's got really any other options. I don't even know that another team is asked to interview.
I don't think he's on anybody else's list, right?
Yeah. So, which I think, and a guy like a defensive-minded coach like a Robert Saleh, I think he's a pretty good bet if you're placing your money on somebody to be the coach here, because he doesn't have leverage, and he'd take it. He's not going to worry about Trent Baalke. He's just going to be excited to get another chance.
Back in the shot.
Yeah. So let me ask you real quick because I do want to get to some Gators basketball and Gators football with you. Mark Long of the Associated Press joining us. Mike Tomlin, I don't think Pittsburgh lets him go, but if the Steelers decide to part ways with Mike Tomlin, where would he fall in this search for you?
I mean, in the mix for sure. I mean, the problem again is who's he going to bring as his offensive coordinator? Because again, if you don't, I get fixing the defense, and I think fixing the defense will get you a long way toward winning a division title and toward respectability if you can fix this god-awful defense. But to me, still, it's like, what are you going to do offensively? You $275 million invested in Trevor Lawrence. Fix that, because Trevor Lawrence has to have stability on the offensive side of the ball. He's now going to be going into year 5. He will have had, if we added up 4 different play callers, is that right? 3 different play callers,
yeah.
Whatever it is. He's going to have a handful of different play callers, a handful of different quarterbacks coaches, and a handful of different head coaches. It's time to get your most expensive player in franchise history. It's beyond time to get him some stability and see what he is. We don't know what he is, Hayes, and you can't spend that kind of money and be any good if you don't know what that guy is. The kind of money that you spent on you better figure him out. You better figure him out in a hurry, because now you've already wasted the first 4 years of his career. Don't waste the next 4, which are probably, there's a good chance those are going to be his best 4 if you play your cards right. That's in the history of NFL football. Most quarterbacks, that's the wheelhouse, right? Years 5 to 8. That is their wheelhouse. Maybe 8, maybe 5 to 12, but that's 5 to 8, the wheelhouse where it's make or break time. And so that's why, to me, it's like, okay, that's great. You want to put Saleh and Tomlin and Spagnuolo and Flores in the mix. That's great. More power to you, but they better have a real good sell on who's going to be the offensive coordinator. And it needs to be an offensive coordinator you think is going to be able to put down some roots here to make Trevor Lawrence everything you think he can be.
Yeah, well said, no doubt about it. Let's get it to Gators basketball. They get a hard-fought road win, 71-63 at Arkansas on Saturday. I think they moved up to 5th, Mark, correct, in the AP poll today. Is that correct?
That is.
You cover this team inside and out. What stands out to you? And you've covered the national title teams there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I mean,
you've seen obviously the height of the Billy Donovan teams. You've seen obviously Mike White's I'm not Mike White's, but Mike White's Elite 8 team, Billy's 14 team with Pat Young and Yeget and Prather and those guys. Where does this team rank for you? Where we're now pretty far into the season. I mean, we're not that far into the SEC season, but they've played 16 games now, 15-1. Is this a team that's got a chance to really be special this year?
Yeah, it is a championship. It's a Final Four contender, championship contending team. I don't think there's any question about it. And again, they could lose. They could lose 4, 5, 10 games in the SEC. Maybe not 10, but they could lose 4, 5, 8 games in the SEC. And I would still say the same thing about them. The SEC is that deep. The SEC is that loaded. But they could lose some games, especially on the road. And still, I'm not going to think any different. This team is, I said it the other day, and I stand by it, I think it's actually deeper than the title teams. And those teams were fantastic, and they were, they could beat you inside or out, just like this team. But this team goes 8 deep, and 9 and 10 aren't bad. 9 and 10 can play. 9's Isaiah Brown, a guard out of Orlando, and 10's probably,
the Urban kid?
Kublikas, that's what I meant. I meant Urban Klasvar, who's, the Slovenian kid. And those kids, they don't play, and I think they could. But their 8 are as good as anybody in the country. And then, again, it goes just like those title teams, just like that 2014 team. They can beat you inside. They can beat you out. They can outscore you. They can get into a defensive battle, and you feel pretty good. One interesting thing that Todd brought up today, Todd Golden, that I found interesting that he hasn't really mentioned before is that he's like everybody on the court plays with a chip on their shoulder. And I hadn't really thought about it, but he's like, Alex Condon was a 3-star. Nobody wanted Alex Condon out of Australia. Ruben Chinyelu, nobody wanted Ruben Chinyelu. I mean, he was a transfer. Nobody wanted him. Walter Clayton was a guy. Yeah, they beat him out, but he's still a guy he played at Iona. He's played at a lower division. Will Richards, same thing. Belmont. Elijah Martin played at FAU. So they have this collective chip where it's a bunch of 3-star recruits for the most part, or guys who came from lesser programs, not really power programs. Micah Hanlogden's obviously not playing, but another kid came from Marshall. Sam Alexis, transfer in. So
yeah, from Chattanooga.
All these guys are either a 3-star recruits, Thomas Hawks, or they're transfers from lower division, and they all have something to prove. And Todd said that is absolutely not to be understated, and he mentions it before every game. He tells them, reminds them that, hey, you're not supposed to be here. He's like, I'm not supposed to be here. I went to college, and I was a walk-on point guard, and I was at coaching at San Francisco, and I went from nobody San Francisco to the University of Florida, one of the top places in the SEC. So he makes that a point every time that before they step on the court that you guys aren't supposed to be here. Now go prove that you belong here. And I just thought it was unbelievable. And, I hadn't really dug in on it. And I think it's a fantastic little backstory into why this team is out there playing the way they do, hustling the way they do, and playing for each other.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Elijah Martin, I think, has been a superstar for Florida in terms of, there was an instance in the, I think it was the Tennessee game where he's actually calming Golden down. It just seems like he's really got special intangibles and leadership qualities. One is Todd Golden. Obviously, there was those really bizarre accusations before the season, or right around the start of the season. What's is Todd Golden fine, or was that is there anything more to that?
Well, we're waiting. We're all kind of waiting, right? Everybody's in this wait and see mode. Here's what I've been told, or how I understand it, is the University of Florida has this Title IX case against Todd Golden, and they're not even sure it has Title IX jurisdiction, but it was given Title IX jurisdiction. And then what happened was it got outsourced. The investigation got outsourced. So now all of a sudden, the University of Florida is getting billed by the hour to an outsourced investigative unit. Well, if you're the investigative unit and you've got this big fish on the line, you're certainly not trying to wrap this thing up in 3 days or even 3 weeks. So that's a problem, and there are going to be some billable hours, and this thing's probably going to cost an arm and a leg, whoever has to pay the bill to this investigative unit. But that's where it's at. I think from a university standpoint, they want to make this thing as buttoned up as they can to be able to withstand any kind of backlash if they get it from victims or whatever. But if you're Todd Golden, this has got to be unbelievably frustrating, right? This is your reputation. This is your family. This is friends. This is, strangers you meet, or what are they thinking? I imagine every girl on campus he crosses, they're thinking something, right? And if you're Todd Golden, you want this thing over. You wanted it over months ago. And for it to still be lingering here into January is, I think, a bad look. And what's worse is, Hays, and again, total speculation here. We can speculate on this show. Total speculation is, I wonder if it pushes Todd Golden out the door.
Wow.
Or at least to the point where he's open to looking for other jobs, as opposed to being unbelievably grateful and dedicated to this one, because you look at this and you're like, this is how they're going to handle this? And again, I go back, this basketball program, this isn't the first time. I go back, Keontae Johnson they screwed that up 15 different ways. For the kid to never get another shot at playing at the University of Florida and then have 4 major programs offering him possibility. He goes to Kansas State. He excels. Big 12. I mean, one of the Big 12 first team, all Big 12. And then he's playing in the G League, in the developmental league of the NBA. Nobody else has have a problem. Florida wouldn't clear him, but the NBA's cleared him and other schools have cleared him. And then you go back even further, more than a decade ago, and Billy Donovan got pissed at the University of Florida because they were making him bust to Georgia. It's like, who's making these decisions over there that they think this is going to, these aren't going to have long-term ramifications? Somebody needs to get their head out of the sand and realize, okay, we need to expedite this and really save a valuable piece that we haven't had in place since Billy Donovan left.
That's really interesting. Real quick, and I'm sorry to keep you this long. So you speculating, what do you think the odds are that Todd Golden is the coach for Florida next year?
Very high.
Very high. Okay.
My point is, this is something that you could look at if the opportunity came up. Who knows? Whatever, a big-time program comes up. I mean, listen, I think they're going to win the national championship. I think they're going to be in the mix for a national championship. I don't think Todd Golden's going to leave a national championship team. But there will be people come calling, and I'm just telling you, this could be in the back of his mind that this is how I got treated at my worst possible time, where in his case, these false accusations are thrown out there, and this is how my people treated me. The guys who were supposed to be my number one supporters, they look like they're doing nothing to get this over with and done.
And then real quick, on the football front at Florida, are you thinking a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator? We know, obviously, Napier is interviewing guys for a GM job, but what's your pulse on that?
I mean, can we get something moving? Does Billy Napier know that the offseason's begun? Like, he hasn't. They signed 5 guys out of the transfer portal, one of them a special teams player, dragging his feet there, dragging his feet with the GM, dragging his feet with the offense coordinator, dragging his feet with the defensive coordinator. I mean, you're changing defensive coordinators. You're supposedly hiring an offensive coordinator. You are definitely hiring a general manager. Get something done. Go hit the portal. I mean, I guess at this point he's waiting for the spring portal, which, again, I can defend it because they got a good team. They've got a lot of good chemistry. See what you've got. You think you've recruited well. See what you've got in the spring, and then go fill holes with the spring portal. I actually get that. I appreciate that. I think it's probably the right approach. But, man, from a staff standpoint, it just looks great. What I will say is this. To defend Billy is I have been told that he doesn't want to make a single move without knowing who's going to be the replacement, if that makes sense. Apparently he got burned when he changed some of the defense before. He doesn't want to fire somebody or move on from somebody without knowing who the replacement's going to be. So,
yeah, great stuff. Mark, I'm sorry to keep you so long, but really appreciate it.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, great insights there. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, take care, Hays. Thank you.
See you, Mark. Does a fantastic job, Mark Long, for the Associated Press. When we come back on the Frangie Show, we'll react to some of the stuff Mark said. You were listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
This is Hays Carlyon here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control, and by now many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish family, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
I'm Holt Harrell. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were shocked that some lawyers get more from a case than their own client. After paying bills and costs, if we are supposed to get more than a client, we won't. That's the Harrell and Harrell promise. When we say that we treat our clients like family, we mean it. If you've been in an accident, call us today. 251-1111. Harrell and Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
New year, new beginnings, and a new roof. Start 2025 with peace of mind and take advantage of Universal Roof and Contracting's limited time offer. 15% off all roof repairs and replacements. From leaks to full replacements, call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection today. This special New Year deal ends January 31st. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home and building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy, and do it today.
Don't ignore plumbing leaks. They can lead to mold and mildew or structural damage and drain your wallet. So when you have a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
Don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and personal loans, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. You can. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free quote now with no hard credit pull at 904-999-1508. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 166178. Subject to lender approval, NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
It's a new year at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Cash in this month with thrilling promotions and tournaments, including daily high hands and table games clockwork cash out, giving away $300 cash every 15 minutes and selected weekends at all 3 Best Bet locations. Catch all the excitement in 2025. See all the details and learn the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com. 1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
All right, welcome back to The Frangie Show. JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon. Our good buddy Frank Frangie is under the weather today, but hopefully will be back with us tomorrow. Really appreciate Mark Long joining us. A lot of great stuff there, JJ. But this, I agree with him. This Florida basketball team, I'll say this. For them to go get that win at Arkansas in front of, 19,000 plus fans on the road, Arkansas cuts the lead to 7 with 2:25 left. They're starting to get the momentum. And then Alex Condon drills a 3, which isn't even really his game. It just speaks to Florida can just beat you in so many ways. Mark mentioned how deep Florida is with their 8, and he's right. The 8th guy is Sam Alexis, the forward transfer from UT Chattanooga. He had 6 points and 7 rebounds in 13 minutes, really gave him a lift. Florida had 3 players foul out in this game. They had not had a player foul out all season. Had 3 foul out in this game for a team that has not been hurt with that, and they were able to overcome it. Thomas Houck, again, just a phenomenal effort off the bench. He was a game-high plus 13 in terms of his 21 minutes. 8 points, 7 rebounds. He drew 3 fouls, had a steal and had a block. And then it was the usual Florida recipe. They were 49 to 39 edge rebounding. Arkansas did not shoot it particularly well. They were 30%. Florida led for 30 minutes of the game. They were 32 to 22 in the paint, 19 to 6 second chance points. It's just, they are just a complete team. I mean, they just do not have a weakness. The bench was outstanding. They outscored Arkansas 19 to 7 in terms of the bench. And it was a game where Walter Clayton and Elijah Martin and Will Richard really didn't shoot the ball that well. They were combined 13 of 37, yet Florida able to go get, I would say, maybe not drama-free, but certainly, I mean, Arkansas never really got it too close to Florida. And Florida probably benefited from seeing Arkansas early. It's the only meeting. Arkansas will probably be better with John Calipari later in the year. But Arkansas is a good team. I mean, they're top 50 in the net. So certainly not a slouch, but I thought
who's the next big opponent for the Gators? Like, I'm looking at their schedule, but I don't know. Like, Missouri has a good record. They're next, but are they?
I wouldn't say Missouri is. That would be a disappointing loss tomorrow night at 9. Missouri. I mean, again, all these SEC teams are top 100 in the net.
The next ranked team is Georgia in 4 games. They're 23, but then after that, it's Tennessee and Auburn. So Auburn's not until February the 8th, but the Tennessee, February 1st at Tennessee at noon. I guess that would be the next biggest one, even though you guys just absolutely destroyed them.
It's still,
like 30 points, but yeah.
I still think going up there, Tennessee will probably get the win, but we'll see. But yeah, to your point, Florida has a really, now that they've gotten through that brutal 3-game start and to go 2-1,
they could take a breath.
Yeah, they can take a breath, and again, we'll see if they're able to, mentally stay sharp. But you definitely like them at home against Missouri, home against Texas, at South Carolina.
Missouri's Missouri's at home. It's 9:00 game.
Right, tomorrow night. And
so that'll be, I'm assuming it'll be like pretty loud in there.
It will be, yeah. It'll be the Rowdies will be fired up for the late start. So
top 5 team now.
Yeah.
Like the expectations now for this team are going to be sky high.
The thing,
as they should be,
because it's just hard to find how are you going to beat this team. I mean, Kentucky did it. They shot 58% from the floor, and they made 14 of 27 threes. I mean, so yeah,
that's not going to happen every game.
So really,
and they still only won by 5.
Yeah,
right?
so correct, and it was, I think it was 106 to 100. Yeah, so they are a really fun team to watch. I mean, if you just like basketball, I mean, obviously you're not going to watch them if you're a Florida State, Georgia. I get that, but if you don't really have a dog in the fight when it comes to college basketball, but you like the sport, watch Florida play, because man, they are just a complete team. They are just exquisite to watch at times, and really playing some great basketball.
From watching that game this weekend, do you expect Arkansas to be in the tournament with Coach Cal? They are 0-3 to start SEC play.
Yeah, because they'll figure it. I think they'll get going. I think Florida caught a little bit of a break playing them early. So yeah, but again, it's such a deep league that there's gonna be a good team that finishes 7-10 or
looking on the outside,
7-11, whatever. I think it's an 18-game slate. So, but yeah, I think there's a lot. Arkansas, I think, has a lot to like. But boy, Florida right now, and again, I mean, Clayton was 4-15 shooting, Martin was 5 of 11, Richard was 4 of 11. I mean, so you think about, you didn't have really any of your top 3 guards play particularly well in terms of scoring, and you still got a relatively drama-free win in a very tough place to play in the SEC. In Bud Walton Arena. And the other thing too is, how do you go from, you don't have a player foul out the entire season, and then you have 3 in one game? I mean, obviously it was a tough whistle for the Gators in that game, but it speaks to their depth that they were able to overcome it. All right, when we come back on the Frangie Show, we're going to shift back to the NFL. We're going to be joined by our good buddy Ryan O'Halloran. Covers the Bills, the columnist stuff for the Buffalo News, but he covers the league-wide. We're going to get his thoughts as well on the Jaguars search. Obviously, Ryan used to be an excellent beat writer here for the Florida Times-Union covering the Jaguars. So that is coming up. You are listening to 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Duval starts with D. Jacksonville Sports Radio is 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. It's win now or go home. The NFL playoffs are the ticket to the biggest game of the year, and all roads lead to New Orleans. The NCAA playoffs will set the stage, but this is your chance to get in on every high-stakes moment along the way. Your road to New Orleans starts now with MyBookie. MyBookie is the ultimate destination for bettors who want more. Whether you're backing the underdogs or riding with the favorites, every drive, every touchdown, every moment is an opportunity to win big. Kick off your 2025 right with risk-free Thursdays. Place a bet. If it doesn't hit, MyBookie has your back. Dive into the Bet Boost tab to supercharge your picks and build that bankroll before the big game. The action doesn't stop. MyBookie's online casino keeps the excitement going 24/7. If you haven't joined yet, now's the time. Use promo code 1010XL on your first deposit, and MyBookie will hook you up with an instant bonus because you deserve to start strong.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Now, any good lineup needs power. When I needed a power connection for our new walk-off Charities baseball park, I found the perfect partner in Ricketts Electric. You're going to love these guys, I'm telling you. The Ricketts family has been providing commercial and residential electric service for years. So call my buddy Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960, and you can find them on Facebook as well. You will trust them. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them today at 320-5960.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The 1010XL Restaurant of the Day is Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island, Clay County's first and only craft brewery and sourdough bakery with full table service at Barley and Pie in Fleming Island.
Grinding out good grades can be just as challenging as winning games. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who you gonna call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors, ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJax.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey with a question here. Was your goal to lose weight this new year? If so, are you already down 18 pounds? That's a serious question because I dropped 18 pounds in my first 3 weeks alone with Awaken 180 weight loss. That's how fast the weight can fall off when you choose the solution for weight loss. Each week, you look at the scale and the number goes down and down. Every morning you wake up, you feel better and better. For me, I love that instant feedback of knowing that Awaken 180 was working for me on a daily basis, experiencing those results, and given how easy Awaken 180 was, there was no way I wouldn't reach my goal, and I did. 25 pounds total thanks to Awaken 180, and I've kept the weight off since. The only weight loss program I know that puts their money where their mouth is. They're so confident in your success, they offer free support for life. A one-time investment in yourself for a lifetime of benefits online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Jaguars legend and Hall of Famer Tony Boselli made an appearance on The Drill this morning to share some insight on what the head coaching interview process looks like, as the Jaguars are currently in the process of interviewing head coaching candidates. Over the weekend, the team interviewed Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, the Lions' offensive and defensive coordinators. So Boselli gave some insight to what interviews with candidates who have never been a head coach would look like.
Like if you look at two guys who interviewed on Saturday, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, there's going to be similar questions about leadership, philosophy, culture, what's your core values, what are your non-negotiables, stuff like that, which is really important. Communication, leadership style, because you're trying to project for a guy like Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson that have never done the job you're actually hiring them to do.
It's 51 degrees at 5:07. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank is under the weather, but JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon, and we are pleased to be joined with our good buddy Ryan O'Halloran, columnist for the Buffalo News. Ryan, happy birthday.
Hey, thank you. It's good to join you again. It feels like we do this almost annually, talking about how to fix the Jags.
Yes. I definitely want to get your thoughts on that. In terms of looking at it from your vantage point, obviously you've got a great team up in Buffalo, and you've got an unbelievable matchup coming up that I want to get your thoughts on in terms of the Ravens coming to town. But what have you seen so far? What have you observed from this Jaguar search, and where do you think this thing is headed?
Well, it's not an attractive job, because of the infrastructure that's going to remain in place. And, people are getting excited. Well, Ben Johnson agreed to talk to the Jaguars. Well, these guys are going to agree to be interviewed by a lot of teams, because you never know if a club's going to acquiesce to your demands about money, staff, infrastructure, culture, front office, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we got a long way to go. I got January 24th in our pool, Hays.
That's
you have
right.
a little bit later than that.
Yeah, I've got April 9th.
What's Billy Napier doing there?
Right.
But in terms of this Jags job, I thought Shad Khan left the window open for changes at the upper management level during his Zoom last week. And to me, if I'm a candidate, that's one of the first questions I ask is, okay, this is who I want to be running the football side of this organization in the front office. If Shad says, nope, Trent Baalke's my guy, then there's some other questions that have to be asked, and followed by most likely a disconnection of the Zoom interview.
Exactly. I would laugh, but if I laugh, I'm going to go into a coughing fit, Ryan. So do not take my non-laugh as I am not delighted by your comments.
Well, I am insulted because that was a pretty damn good line, but I'll digress anyway.
Yeah, it was, and I can smile, but I just can't.
Smiling.
I am smiling, but I can't laugh, or I'll go into a coughing fit. Unfortunately.
One thing about the Jags is from now a outside observer, but somebody who covered the team, are they better off than they were after the 2016 season? They had, I think, the infrastructure that Dave Caldwell and Gus Bradley had entering the 2016 season. They hadn't spent a ton of money. They had They had drafted better than the current regime, and they had some foundation players. So I don't know why people would think this organization is in a lot better shape right now. That means this hire for the head coach is vitally important to reset what needs to be reset, which is basically everything.
That's why I thought the decision by Shad to keep Baalke was the equivalent to me of missing like a 2-foot putt to win the Masters, because if he had done the full clean sweep of coach and GM, I think you've got a really euphoric fan base and a really optimistic, feel around the city.
Hope.
Yeah, and hope, and that's the thing that. This isn't something that we conjure up. This is something you're as plugged in as anybody in this league, and no one can figure out why he kept him.
Yeah, and if I was ownership with the Jags, I would have made a move with the front office before the season was over, because you can start that search right away. You don't have to wait. You have to get permission from a team to talk to their assistant GM. They're always going to give it, because it's not like they're involved in the game plan in that week. You could have had your GM in place by now, and you could have really started the head coaching interview process. Now, you've talked to guys, but now you're in a holding pattern for coaches whose teams are still playing. You haven't even got a chance to talk to Joe Brady yet to see what he has to say from the Bills. So it appears clunky, but maybe for Jaguar fans, it will have a good result.
If Shad does end up, and I don't think it'll happen, but hypothetically, if he were to move off of Baalke, does it become an attractive job in your opinion then?
More attractive for sure, because if you give the head coach the responsibility and the power to help select the general manager, regardless of who has control over the 53, that makes it a more attractive job, because you're allowing them to put somebody they're comfortable with. And to me, if you have a clean slate I thought this job was attractive for Ben Johnson from Detroit, and you never know. It may still be, but this is a tough job. And, it goes beyond, you have to play a lot of games outside of the city during the stadium renovation. You got to go to London a lot annually. Next year's schedule is like 3 or 4 West Coast trips. So, this team is a long way away, and the coaches who are interviewing probably understand that.
You mentioned Joe Brady, the Bills offensive coordinator. Would you like him as a candidate here?
I think he's worth talking to. The only question I'd have about Joe is 35 years old, so maybe not this cycle. Joe has worked New Orleans, LSU, Carolina, and Buffalo, so it'd be fascinating to know what his staff on the defensive side would look like. I would assume he'd be the play caller. And Hayes, one of the things we've talked about through the years is you're going to get a lot of first-time head coaches, either hired by the Jags or another team, who are going to insist on calling the plays, being the first-time head coach, and having new guys at the coordinator spots. Total 100% mistake, and that's what I'd want to know if I was Shad Khan. Yes, you're going to be doing this for the first time, but you better have some veteran coaches at the coordinator level.
Ryan O'Halloran joining us, the columnist from the Buffalo News. Let's get it to yesterday's game. Wow. It was close for a while, and then Josh Allen does something spectacular on 4th and 1. Take us through that play and also just your reaction to the Bills' 31-7 win over the Broncos.
Yeah, that play was, created some distance. It was, 13-7 late in the third. They were on 4th and 1, and it was weird because 4th and 1, you're thinking, okay, Bills, quarterback sneak. Well, then he lines up in the shotgun. Okay, are they really going to try and draw him off? That never works. But then they run the play. He scrambles around for 6.68 seconds, finds Ty Johnson, sliding across the back of the end zone. And then on the next series, he goes 55 yards to Curtis Samuel. And all of a sudden, it's 28-7. It was kind of like the Jet game a couple weeks ago where late in the third quarter it was 12-0. Next thing you know, it's 40-0. So this team responds fast. And, now you're looking at just a complete heavyweight matchup on Sunday night. These teams, the Baltimore Ravens and Bills, they combined for 400-plus rushing yards, 900-plus yards of offense, and 53 points in their first-round games. They've been on a collision course here for the last couple months.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I tell you, James Cook has really established himself as well. Had 120 yards on the ground, a touchdown yesterday. Have you been what's been your evaluation? Not maybe surprised, but what's been your evaluation of this young running back?
He's a terrific player, and he's had 2,000-yard seasons in a row. And he's very decisive but patient, and that's sort of an oxymoron. But you need both of those attributes to be a quality tailback in this league. His rookie year, he was behind Devin Singletary, had a little bit of a fumbling problem, has gotten that straightened out. Primarily a first and second down back. On third down, they'll go with Ty Johnson, for pass protection, just to give James a rest. But I thought he's had 2 good seasons combined, and man, he just shows some speed when he gets around that edge, and he can break tackles. Yeah, without a doubt. Well, do you think Josh Allen wins the MVP? Well, judging by the All-Pro vote, it doesn't look good. I think if he doesn't win, he's been totally jobbed because this award is most valuable / most indispensable. You look at what the Ravens and the Bills did throughout the offseason. The Ravens added the Yulee Bulldozer. They had Zay Flowers. They had 2 tight ends. And the Bills had 2 tight ends, but they got rid of Diggs. They got rid of Davis. They changed some things up front. So this was more of a transition year. I thought Josh Allen deserves it. And one of my main talking points is Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, in week 2, they lost at home to the Las Vegas Raiders. And then they also lost at the Cleveland Browns. That's an elimination stat for me. You don't deserve consideration if you lose to those 2 terrible teams. Yeah, interesting. In terms of the first meeting was odd. It went all to Baltimore's side. Now my theory on that is the Bills just didn't have enough left after playing the Jaguars the week prior. But short week. It was a short week. Short week, and you get into a street fight with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't care if you won the game by 47 points or whatever it was. But in all seriousness, what did you take out of the Week 4 Baltimore 35-10 win over the Bills? And will any of that translate to Sunday night? Well, the Ravens sure hope so. They rushed for 271 yards. Derrick Henry, 87-yard touchdown, first play from scrimmage. The die was cast. One thing for the Bills is that night they were without out Taron Johnson, out Terrell Bernard, out Matt Milano, then out Taylor Rapp. So that's 4 starters on defense. They either didn't have it all or lost during the game. That said, this is a bad matchup, and the Bills have to be able to scheme some things up to stop the run. I mean, this is a defense that, stubborn or not, they play nickel 90% plus of the time. They are not a big, heavy defense. They got to switch that up. I think they got to play more of their 4-down, 3 linebacker base personnel to play the run. They got to be disciplined on those RPOs. And I do give the Bills, I think it's a total 50-50 game. Maybe the Bills get that home field, use that energy to stop the Ravens.
Who do you like in tonight's game, Vikings-Rams?
I mean, neutral field or not, I picked the Rams. I thought Sam Darnold last week looked totally shell-shocked against the Lions, and he's had a great season. But I think the Rams, and really seeing the Rams in person this year against the Bills, they rolled up 44, 45 points. Nakua and Kupp on the same side of the field is like watching poetry because they understand each other. They know how to work off their angles. They know how to take advantage of picks. And so I think they're going to have a big game for the Rams tonight and look for Stafford to throw quickly against like the blitzes that Brian Flores will present.
And last one, Ryan, and I appreciate your time again. Ryan O'Halloran, columnist of the Buffalo News, kind enough to join us, our good buddy. What happens with Dallas? What does Jerry Jones end up doing for his head coaching search?
Well, much as usual with Jerry, he waited so long. He can't talk to some of these guys until after their seasons are done. To me, it's is it a Kellen Moore who had a background with the Cowboys, who has a background with Dak Prescott? I mean, hell, is Dak Prescott running the search? That's another issue that could be interesting to monitor. But I mean, to me, 2 months ago, this would have been the Bill Belichick spot, period. And now maybe you still think that's the case.
That's right.
Yeah, so you're and the fact that we're still having that the fact that that's still like a bit is amazing to me. But you may be right. But
I thought Florio was interesting. He wrote an interesting story today on Pro Football Talk. Belichick apparently hasn't built a staff in North Carolina. He's been on the job for 5 weeks. Yeah,
and the guys he's put on there, he's like, okay, he put his kid on there. Is he waiting for NFL guys or college guys who are in the playoff? You'd think he'd start adding some more of the analysts and stuff like that. But, if we get a report that he's still staying at the Chapel Hill Ramada Inn, then we'll know for sure he's going to Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't mean to cut you off. You were talking, you were making a point, and then I jumped in.
Well, I would say the last time Dallas had an opening, it moved pretty quickly with McCarthy. Okay, if I'm Dallas, do I call Pete Carroll?
That's interesting.
To me, that's the kind of the energy you need in that market, which is just a ruthless place to play.
Yeah.
Because of the attention. So that to me, Pete Carroll would be a guy that every team should be calling.
That's interesting. Would you like him here in Jacksonville?
I would, because he'd bring a lot of juice to the. He'd bring a lot of juice and positivity to an organization that needs some.
Yeah.
He is going to be the face of the organization with your quarterback. He's had success. With Russell Wilson that whole time in Seattle. The interesting part with Pete, like all these other coaches, who's your offensive coordinator? He cycled through a lot of guys in Seattle.
Yeah, great points. Ryan, really appreciate it. Great talking with you, and man, enjoy that game Sunday night. I'm envious. What a great game to get to cover.
All right, Hayes. Well, it should be fun. Appreciate you talking to you.
Yeah, and happy birthday. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Hayes.
All right, Ryan O'Halloran, kind enough to join us. You were listening to The Frangie Show. We will be back on 1010X on 92.5 FM. We're going to be talking to D-Rock, our good buddy Michael DeRocco of ESPN. We'll get his thoughts on a lot of Jaguar topics. That's up next.
It's the ride home with The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's holiday season, and Nimnick Chevrolet is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnick. Now, that red tag sales event is back at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. And unlike most dealerships, Nimnicht Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnicht. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. The Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And oh, by the way, ask about 0% financing and $7,500 instant cash savings on EVs. Remember, Nimnicht will always give you top dollar for your trade. So if you're looking for a great place to shop over this holiday season, there's only one answer, Nimnicht, because there's nobody but Nimnicht.
Some players have talent, others have heart. But tonight, I've seen players with talent who I didn't know had any.
1010XL.
And others with heart who I thought only had talent.
Where talent meets heart.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice. Watch the roulette wheel spin and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star. Sip cocktails that shimmer. Then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now. Only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa. Located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
I'm Renee Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, we understand when you've been in an accident, there's a lot to handle. You've lost pay, and now the medical bills are piling up. When there isn't much insurance, some attorneys will pay your bills, take their fee, leaving you with even less than them. Not at Harrell & Harrell. We'll work hard to reduce your medical bills, and we promise our fee will never be more than you take home. Call us today, 904-251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
If you've played sports or still lead an active life, chances are joint pain is nothing new. This is Dr. George Barry of Barry Orthopedics, and we like to be your option when it comes to taking care of your body and getting back in the game. From shoulders to elbows to hip and knee pain, Barry Orthopedics can diagnose and treat a variety of injuries that are causing you pain. We are Barry Orthopedics and online at barryorthopedics.com. With more than 30 years of experience, our team is here to care for your entire family.
Find out more at barryorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Open enrollment is here, so it's time to secure health coverage for your family. Whether you need Affordable Care Act plans, dental, or Medicare, visit one of the Florida Blue pop-up enrollment tents near you. They make the process easy and stress-free with medical and dental insurance you can count on. Plus, listen to this. Based on eligibility, many people pay absolutely nothing for coverage. Find the perfect Florida Blue plan for your family at the Aaron Group in Orange Park near the intersection of College Drive and 220. Here's a reminder for Florida Blue members. You can access Sanitas Medical Center with 3 locations around town offering primary care, walk-in services, an on-site pharmacy, and mental health support. 3 Sanitas Medical Centers, combined with Florida Blue coverage and expert service you'll get from the Aaron Group in Orange Park, will make you feel like a winner in Northeast Florida insurance coverage.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hays Carlyon.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Coke Florida congratulates the Jacksonville Jaguars on a great 2024 season. As the local Coca-Cola bottler celebrating 10 years of business, Coke Florida is proud to be the Jags' official beverage partner. From the season kickoff to the final touchdown, Coke Florida's 5,000 associates and passionate fans have cheered on the Jags all season long. Coke Florida and the Jags tackle game day with great taste.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payment. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is sick today, but hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. We hope he gets to feeling better. JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon, and we are pleased to be joined with our good friend D-Rock, Michael DeRocco of ESPN. D-Rock, how you doing?
I'm good, Hays. How are you guys?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for taking some time to chat with us. Lots to get to with the Jaguars. Definitely want to get your kind of your vibe on where the search is. But a lot of other stuff, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Trevor's press conference, a lot of stuff that we'll get to. But let's just start with, I don't think it's surprising that, I mean, they've got a good list of candidates. They conducted interviews this weekend. They'll continue to do that. Anything so far in the process that stood out to you, or has it been kind of how you expected it to play out for this first week?
Yeah, pretty much the way I thought it would go the first week. I mean, getting Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson done quickly was obviously the right play to do that there. And now it's going to be interesting to see how the Liam Cohen thing goes because he's now eligible to kind of talk to teams starting tomorrow. So I'm sure they're going to get him in as soon as possible. But, I have this feeling, and from the people that I've talked to, it seems like this is going to be another long search. Maybe not the search length that we had back in 22 when they hired Doug Peterson, but this is I don't see this being a thing that's done end of next week. I think they really want to talk to all of those guys, and it may take a while to get to some of them potentially if they're still like Joe Brady if he's still the Bills are still alive. So I get the feeling they want to talk to all these guys and be as diligent, as thorough as they were before. So I don't think this is going to be a quick deal. Yeah,
I'm with you. I think we're still 2 or 3 weeks away from probably knowing who the hire is. Where do you stand on offensive mind versus a guy that can establish a toughness here?
Ideally, you'd want the both.
Yeah.
Because I think, without question, the toughness, the physical toughness, the mental toughness, the culture. Like Trevor talked about, that we're a team that teams don't want to play. That's kind of what they want to be, and that's obviously lacking. The offensive guy. Look, I was looking this up the other day. If you count going back to his last year at Clemson, this will be his fourth head coach since 2020, and his 5th offensive play caller in 2020 if you count Tony Elliott at Clemson in 2020. I mean, it's textbook how to ruin a quarterback here. So part of me says if you have to choose between those, maybe it's better to choose the offensive guy to get Trevor right and fix that, because he's going into year 5. He's going to be 26 years old, so he's still young, but man, he desperately needs some stability. So, it's hard to kind of choose between the both, but I would probably lean more towards the offensive guy at this point, just because that is your franchise. And you would hope that the guy has a little bit of that culture building in him, and you would hope he would construct a staff that would be filled with guys that can kind of help them get there. But I also think some of this has to be player driven too. You know what I mean? It has to be a locker room that is full of vocal leaders, is full of guys that aren't going to put up with any BS, is full of guys that, if there's anything that needs to be said, no one's afraid to say it. And there needs to be more get-in-your-face guys, I think, in that locker room. So you hope you can accomplish that with players as well, with the coach. But if I have to choose, I'd probably say because of where they are, get the offensive guy in here and get Trevor fixed.
Do you think they have a good shot at Ben Johnson?
Everything – I don't know Ben Johnson, obviously. Everything I've read and from some of the people I talked to, they seem to think that he'd be certainly willing to take this job. There apparently are concerns about the front office structure on Ben Johnson's part, at least if, that's what's been reported anyway. Look, the way I look at it is if you stack it up against the other jobs, and clearly we're probably a little biased because we're here in Jacksonville and we cover the team, but you've got a young quarterback. You've got some pieces offensively. You've got an elite wide receiver already here. And you play in a division that is eminently winnable. I mean, the Texans got a big win the other day in the postseason in the wild card round. But, I mean, this division is ripe for the taking. It's not like they're that far off to win in this division. So that seems to make this job a little bit more attractive, certainly than the Bears job. I mean, the Bears job, you're dealing with the Lions and the Packers.
Right.
Every year, twice each. And in this division, it's a much quicker path to the playoffs. So, I think if you're ranking these jobs, especially now that New England's out of the way, it would have to be the number one job. So, it just depends on whether he's willing to work with Shad Khan with Trent Baalke, or Shad Khan is, willing to kind of move some things around in that front office to kind of make it a little bit more palatable, like he said he would be amenable to, at his press conference.
Do you like Liam Cohen as a candidate?
I do. And a lot of that is not, the numbers are great, and what he did with Baker Mayfield is fantastic, obviously. I've just seen a lot of clips of him on social media, and granted, that's just clips on social media, but he seems like a real down-to-earth guy, seems like a guy that's pretty smart, and it seems like a guy that can kind of command the room, because that's the other thing that everybody wants is the guy that can stand up in front of the room and have guys believe in him, listen to what he says, follow what he says, and embrace what he says. And it just seems like from what the Bucs players talk about and those clips on social media, he has a little bit of that in him. So, it's just a quick trip up the road for him too. So, he obviously knows, he's playing in a division right now too that's not exactly a gauntlet either. So he understands that probably maybe more than some of those other guys do.
Do you have any interest in a Mike McCarthy or Mike Tomlin if Pittsburgh were to be ready to part ways with him?
Oh my gosh! If Tomlin were on the free agent market, yeah, I'd snatch him up in a half a second. I mean, man, you talk about establishing the culture. You talk about establishing an identity. That's the guy that's going to do it for you. And I know that they have struggled in the postseason lately, but there's something to be said for always being in the postseason.
Absolutely.
And when he had great, like everyone talks about, well, he hasn't been really good since Roethlisberger left. Well, great. Roethlisberger's probably a Hall of Famer. Like, you're supposed to be much better when you have a really, really good quarterback. And I think if he gets down here and he's willing to maybe modernize some offensive stuff and does a really good job of finding an offensive coordinator that can kind of really get the best out of Trevor, I think that'd be a home run hire. But I don't know that he'll be available in any way, and I don't think they should trade for him either. I would be very, very surprised if they were willing to do that. McCarthy's won a Super Bowl in the past, but I think you just had Mike McCarthy here with Doug Peterson. Kind of an easygoing guy who won a Super Bowl before in another team. But, his teams have underachieved lately. Last year, clearly they should have made a deeper run in the postseason than they did. And then this year was just a disaster. And then Dak got hurt. So Tomlin more than Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. What were your big takeaways from Trevor Lawrence's comments during his press conference last week?
Well, it was interesting. He did admit that the offense was a little bit predictable at times because of their inability to run the ball. And you know, I'm not saying that's a shot at the offensive line, but it's a shot at pretty much everything there that they weren't able to run the ball successfully. You know, hasn't talked to Azeez Al-Shaair. The guy didn't even reach out to him, which I thought was interesting. I kind of expected him to. I thought for sure he would have sent a text or something, so that was a little bit surprising, but that's a little bit of old news. But him talking about they need more juice, they need juice around here, that goes back to that culture thing that we were talking about. And it says to me like he's screaming for a guy that can come in here and just kind of energize everybody and jolt everybody awake and kind of set that identity, you know, sort of the way, and he was a little bit ridiculous sounding at first, but the way Dan Campbell did when he got to Detroit in 21. I mean, everybody thought he was a buffoon, talking about biting a kneecap and stuff. But look at the culture he's established and the identity they've established. And, yeah, they've drafted well, and they've, you know, ended up with one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But, man, we all know who the Detroit Lions are. And that, I think, is what Trevor wants the most, is someone that can come in here and establish that culture and identity.
Do you think Christian Kirk returns?
Yeah, we go back and forth on this one over in the media room a bunch. I think Kirk does, but I'm not 100% sure that Evan Ingram does, because Evan Ingram's, I think the fifth day of the league year, his salary becomes fully guaranteed. So that's the one I think that I'll watch a little bit more. But from the Kirk standpoint, Parker Washington really hasn't done anything for me to believe that he can be as productive as Kirk has been when he's been healthy. So that is, you know, I would hesitate to not bring him back, or I would hesitate to cut him, because I think you need some more weapons offensively. With Brenton Strange is not Evan Ingram, I get it. But, you know, that one I could see more being a salary cap cut than anything else. And I know Kirk's salary is pretty big, and it's probably way overpaid for a slot receiver in the league at this point for what he's giving you. But the way I kind of look at it, and maybe teams don't look at it this way, but, you know, just for example, if Kirk's getting 15 and Brian Thomas Jr. is getting 5, okay, that's $20 million. If the numbers were flipped and you said you're spending $20 million between those two guys, you'd be okay with the collective number of $20 million between those two guys. So I think if you can kind of look at it that way, if the Jaguars do decide to look at it that way, then I don't see a reason to not bring Christian Kirk back.
Yeah, and I think it makes a lot of sense to look at it that way. It's more, what are you spending in the room, more than necessarily particularly when it's a productive player, which Christian Kirk has been when he's been healthy here. But great stuff. Well, D-Rock, we certainly appreciate it, man. I can't thank you enough for joining us, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, man. Hopefully that hiring press conference gets here sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think I'll see you. I'm going to say I'll see you the first couple of days of February. What do you think? You think today's the 13th? Will I see you this month?
Man, I'm going down to the Pro Bowl for 5 days at the end of this month, so that's pretty much when it's going to happen. So I'll go out on a limb and say you'll see me on the last day of January. How about that?
That sounds great. D-Rock, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Hays.
All right, that is Michael DeRocco. Does a great job covering the Jaguars for ESPN. When we come back, we will get it to our cool down. We'll also talk to Rick Ballou and get you ready for Into the Night. You're listening to 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold & Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the overwhelming betting favorite to win the regular season MVP award. The Thunder with the best record in the Western Conference. He is at -170. Denver's Nikola Jokic +150 as he tries to go for MVP number 4. Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks +2200. Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics +4000. The Celtics are still the betting favorite to win the NBA championship. Boston at +200, while Oklahoma City is at +265. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who have the best record in the the Eastern Conference are plus 850. The New York Knicks plus 1200. The Dallas Mavericks and the Denver Nuggets both at plus 1700. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the G-Bank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010 XL.
Aunt Linda clogged the guest bathroom. Your nephew thought the AC was a snow machine. And let's not even talk about the kitchen sink after that turkey grease incident. Ooh.
Congratulations, your family finally left, but the mess stayed behind.
Don't worry. Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning can fix it all. From backed up pipes to overworked AC units, we've got you covered.
Start the new year fresh, because your house deserves it.
Call Duck Rooter today at 904-862-6769. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your New Year's stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. Check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Bills are a 1-point home favorite over the Ravens. The Texans, a 7.5-point underdog at the Chiefs. The Lions are giving 8 points at home to Washington. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Frank Frangie, and I've depended on South State for my banking needs as long as they've been serving Duval. Whether you're saving for retirement, purchasing a home, starting a business, your goals are their commitment. With forward-thinking, personalized banking solutions and best-in-class service, South State is ready to help you navigate your financial journey. Connect at southstatebank.com or drop by any of the 5 local South State offices. South State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Happy New Year from Big Chief Tire. Frank Frangie here. Start 2025 off right by keeping your car running smoothly. Whether you're traveling for work or heading out on a weekend getaway, their expert technicians will ensure your vehicle is in top shape. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule maintenance, repairs, or tire service. With Big Chief Tire's trusted care, you'll tackle every journey ahead with peace of mind. Start the year strong. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Mia here. Why Arlington Toyota? How about a huge selection of new vehicles in stock, on the ground, in one location? And every new Toyota purchase comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty, unlimited time, and miles. 60-day exchange program. Yes, you heard that right. 60 days to love your new purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Plus, Arlington's credit helper to help you get financed. There's even complimentary car washes with every service, and so much more. Shop arlingtontoyota.com today.
When my wrist pain was acting up and I needed help, I took Dan Hickens' advice and headed over to see the experts at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. This is Stuart Moore with the PGA Tour. I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whenever you have a need, they took great care of me. They'll take great care of you.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy. The next time you need orthopedic care, you can rely on our team at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by By now, you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Are the company's Zoom calls getting boring? Might be a good time to order some new logo caps or temporary tattoos. Check them out online at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is under the weather today. We hope he feels better, and hopefully he will be back tomorrow. JJ LaSelva is here. I am Hays Carlyon. Boy, we've had a lot of fun today. I talked to Mark Long of the Associated Press. He had some great comments about the Jaguars coaching search, also Gator basketball. He believes that they are absolutely a Final Four contender. And, had some interesting stuff with Todd Golden, I thought, in terms of there is this ongoing thing, but it seems like Mark expects that at the end of the day, Todd Golden will be back next year for the Gators. We talked with Ryan O'Halloran, columnist of the Buffalo News, who gave us some great insights about the Ravens-Bills game coming up. I thought it was interesting. He does not think the Bills match up particularly well against the Ravens. That 35-10 loss in Week 4 certainly stands out, but it's a lot of football has taken place since then. And we talked to D-Rock, our good buddy Michael DeRocco from ESPN, who feels like this Jaguar coaching search could go on for weeks longer. So a lot of fun stuff on the Frangie Show today. But now, the big guy is here.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Service by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Rick Ballou getting us ready for Into the Night.
Happy day. Happy day.
What's going on? How about Mike Vrabel? What a great hire. A+.
Man, yeah. A lot of people thought that they should have made that move a year ago.
Yeah.
And they did not. And
probably better for Vrabel. Now you're following Gerard Mayo instead of Bill Belichick.
Got paid more.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I heard between 10 and 15. I heard they were offering 10. He was asking 15. I don't know if they met in the middle.
Wow.
But it's a nice 3-year contract for Mike Vrabel.
What do you think about Dallas? What ends up happening with the Cowboys?
Why do I believe it's going to end up being a disappointment? It's going to be something like Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Today it's like Dion, and then it's like, well, Parcells would have been the prime candidate for that job if he didn't go to North Carolina. Why do I think it's not going to be a mammoth name?
Right.
I just don't see it being that way. The one that's attracted to me is Marcus Freeman. Now, all of a sudden, apparently Chicago's very interested. At this age, now at Notre Dame, there's no way I would take a job in Chicago. Chicago can't win right now. And even though I think Caleb Williams has a real opportunity, that's in the most difficult division in pro football. If I'm Marcus Freeman, I hang around and wait for the right job. I pick my job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't take it right now.
What stood out to you this weekend from the NFL games we saw?
Yeah, I'm going to begin with that. Just the fact that they really weren't competitive until last night. But, boy, a totally different tune compared to the first round of the college football games. It's like everyone wants to complain about that. But when it comes to wild card weekend, it could be 48-0, and fans are like, this is great. We have a game. So it's just amazing how incredibly opposite people react to the first round in the NFL compared to the first round in college.
Absolutely. What else coming up on
We got
Into the
all
Night?
that. Yeah, we just got a lot of good stuff coming up tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. I got a topic I'm going to throw out here in just a little bit, and we're going to celebrate another beautiful day in Jacksonville. It's awesome outside right now. You know what it's like outside right now? Freaking London.
Yeah,
if you ever
cold and
want to go to a
rainy.
Jaguars game in London, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You think this Jags coaching search goes on another couple of weeks?
I have to
At
believe
a
so,
minimum?
because they've only interviewed 4. They'll do 5 with Sal tomorrow. You can start to get these other guys involved. But if you're gonna, and right now, if I had to guess, I'd say Aaron Glenn. Who would you say?
I will say Robert Saleh, because I think it's gonna.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a tough search.
Yeah, and I think, that obviously the guy that I want and you want is Ben Johnson.
Yes.
I just don't think that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if it is Aaron Glenn, don't you have to meet with him? And if Detroit wins this weekend, and then, all of a sudden it's championship weekend, and I know you get that opportunity, and the rules change yearly in the NFL as far as the interview process, but if that's where you're going, it feels like this thing's going to go until late January, maybe even February.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Thank you.
We'll be listening Into the Night with Rick Ballou coming up. JJ, great job. Really appreciate it. Again, thanks to Mark Long, Ryan O'Halloran, Michael Duraco for joining us. Get well, Frank. Hopefully we'll see him tomorrow. That's going to do it for us. Stay tuned. Into the Night with Rick Ballou up next. You're listening to 1010XL, 92.5 FM.